We're doing this on the fly once again. Here he comes. And it pains me to say it. I must say, the now former Bellator lightweight champion. He is sliding in. There he is. Be careful with that foot. There he is. Michael Chandler is here. How are you, my friend?
Oh, just living the dream, man.
Wow. We have a lot to talk about, Michael.
Oh, we got lots to talk about.
You're still here in New York.
I'm still here in New York, enjoying New York.
Is there a part of you that just wants to get the hell out of here now?
No, man. I've been looking forward to this, man. I've had a very long, good, successful improvement type of training camp.
Okay.
I've been looking forward to these next couple days to enjoy New York City with my wife and get a little bit of downtime. So,
how do we describe the last 48 hours? Is this surreal? Is this? I mean, you're putting on a happy face. I can't imagine, knowing the kind of competitor that you are. You're probably really pissed off. Feel robbed. Big moment for you. How do you put into words how you're feeling right now?
I don't know. It's weird because you think about your own emotions, or you think about your own interpretation of the situation, but there's doctors involved, there's referees involved, there's the big stage, there's the fans on Twitter, there's the media, there's everybody's different perspective. So you don't really know exactly how to take it, because every now and then you'll hop on Twitter and be like, oh, I never thought about that perspective. Or you hop on, or listen to something that you say, you're like, I didn't think about that perspective either, So it's interesting, man. It's just one of those things. It was a freak deal. A freak accident type of, I was out there and I was like a lame duck, if you will, and Brent Primus still couldn't really finish me. Honestly, he didn't even lay leather on me.
Okay,
the ref stopped the fight, because of the severity of how bad the injury looked.
When does it start? He kicks you?
No, when I stepped back and rolled my ankle.
Okay. And
it rolled underneath me and bent 7 ways to Sunday.
Wow.
I think I stretched it so bad that it jacked up the nerve, and I have zero nerve function. And I had zero nerve function in my left leg.
Okay,
from the knee down, basically.
Did you feel it right away?
I felt it as I got up and started hopping around, and you see me hop and hop and hop, but it was more on my heels than on my toes, because my brain was telling me to take a step, but my foot can't do this, if that makes sense.
Right now?
Dorsiflexion, no.
Okay.
My foot cannot go like this, so I can walk. I have, a sprained ankle, obviously, by everybody who saw the
Yeah, but you didn't break
replays.
anything.
No broken.
Wow.
No broken bones. Thank
Did you
God.
think?
Oh, you heard me. I said, I looked at 3 doctors in the eye and said, this thing better be broken. If you were going to stop this fight in front of all these people, with all the hard work that I've put in, with all that's on the line, that belt on the line, this thing better be broken. Now I sit here after a 24 hours to kind of cool off, 48 hours to cool off. I'm very happy that I'm able to walk in here on my own 2 legs and,
right.
Have a jacked up leg. But nothing's broken, man. I went straight to the ER. The people at doctors at Bellevue ER, man, I got in, they x-rayed it, nothing broken. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I could be just getting out of surgery right now with a rod in my leg, and luckily it's not. It looks extremely gruesome, and I've had tons of support. So many text messages, so many people on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, reach out, and there's so many people that have been behind me and supportive and worried about my broken ankle, and thank God it's not broken. So for everybody, it's not broken. Everything is good. I will be back in the Bellator cage, and I will have that belt wrapped around my waist before I even lose the tan lines that were left there from the time I had it 2 days ago.
So do you think the doctors made the wrong call?
Man, what do you do? If you lined up 100 people right now and said, "Hey, watch this clip,"
yeah,
is that man right there fit to fight?
Right.
90% of them would say no. He was stumbling all over the place. Now you look at it from the competitor's standpoint, or you look at it from your shoes where you've seen a million fights, or maybe if it was big John McCarthy in there, or maybe if it was Dan Miragliotta or a different ref, maybe they would have saw it and interpreted it different. Literally, the unfortunate part of the situation was that ref called for the doctors to come into the cage 15 seconds after I just dropped him.
Yes.
On one leg.
Yes.
So that's where the hard part comes in, because I was standing there. I said, "Come on, take it, break it." I looked him right in the eyes and I said, "Take it, break it, kick it. Let's do it. If you're gonna do it, do it." 5 seconds later, he was on his butt on the canvas. I was the only man to land a punch in that fight, and I put him on his butt. So 15 seconds later, the fight is stopped. So that's the unfortunate part. I think, honestly, I had a beat on him. I got my distance. I realized the left leg was not working, but the right hand was cocked and it was ready to go. And I would have finished him. If this was the 18th century and I was in the middle of a field and it was me and Brent Primus and I had one leg to stand on and we're fighting to the death, I win that fight 100 times out of 100.
The fascinating thing
that's the funny thing.
I feel like the intensity right now coming off of you. Like, I feel like you're still fired up.
I'm still the champion. Let's be honest. An injury took me out of that fight. Brent Primus can wear his Hugh Hefner jacket and throw that fake belt around his shoulder. I told Scott Coker, I talked to him on the way here. I said, book the fight. Let's do it later this summer or later this fall. It's a foregone conclusion. My leg is. I don't want to say unfortunately. Fortunately, my leg is fine, but it's just crazy to be standing in here. It's crazy to have been able to go shopping with my wife today, hobbling around a little bit, but walking around New York City. But 48 hours ago, my leg wouldn't function.
Right.
You know?
So no crutches needed? Or are you just that damn tough?
I mean, it's a little bit of both, maybe. You know, they said I needed crutches, but I also had my doctor there. He's an orthopedic surgeon at Sanford Medical in Sioux Falls. So he was there.
You brought your own doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he rode in the ambulance with me.
Wow.
So and that's the crazy thing. 10 minutes after the fight ended, we went back there and he said, Michael, I don't want to tell you this, but I want to tell you this, but I don't want to tell you this. You don't have a broken leg. Your leg is not broken. Your ankle is not broken. This test, and this test are all negative. I think what you have is nerve damage, and it's that perineal nerve that runs up the side of your leg that is in charge of your brain firing the neurons straight down to your leg to say lift your foot. It's just not working, and that's a hard pill to swallow. I was back there. It was me and my wife back there, and I had some choice words for the doctors because I was like, do you realize what you just did? Like
the New York doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I love, New York is a cool city, but I don't want to fight here.
Why?
Ever again. It's a little bit amateur hour, man. Like it's different. MMA, they don't know what they're doing when it comes to MMA as much as they should, you know?
What do you mean?
Just everything, you know? How many fights have we had in New York now? 5?
Yeah, something like that. 205 World Series, something like that.
We've had what? Five cards, and every single one of them have some pretty crazy controversy on them or something weird going on. Now, granted, like I said, if you lined up 10 people, 9 of them would say he wasn't fit to fight, somebody get him out of there. So you can't, but it's just, they're overcautious because of stuff that's going on, I guess, and they will always cover in their butts. But man, it's when there's money on the line, when there's people's livelihood, when there's legacy on the line, when there's records on the line, when there's contracts on the line, when there's all this stuff on the line, I know that the doctors and the ref and everybody involved did the best that they could with the information they were given. So I'm not mad, I'm not upset. It's just one of them things. And man, I'm still the champion. I brushed my teeth this morning and looked in the mirror and said, Michael Chandler, you're still the best in the dang world. And that's the truth. And that's what it is. And that's how it's going to be. And that's how it's going to continue forward. I'm going to get the leg looked at by a nerve specialist this week and get an MRI and make sure the ankle ligaments and all that kind of stuff are good. But chances are it's all going to say it's checked out. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to be ready to go.
So like, are you in pain right now?
Pain's a relative term.
Okay.
But I mean, it's
crying fetal position.
It's a little bit, but I mean, it's more uncomfortable. It's more literally just looking down at your leg. You know, I've been so blessed, man. Like my body is so durable. My bones don't break. And that was the problem. Like if the doctors and the refs knew my history and the things that I put my body through, I could tell them with full certainty, guys, my leg is not broken. Let me keep fighting. My leg is not broken, you know? My bones don't break. I just had a DEXA scan. If you don't know what that is, it's a $25,000 machine where you lay down completely still and it zzz over top of you and it gets your body fat, your bone density, all your water, all that kind of stuff. I'm in like the 99.8% percentile on bone density.
Wow.
You know, so I knew the bones weren't broken, but back to what I was saying, like I've been just so extremely blessed with such a well-enabled body to be able to, yes, it's a lot of hard work and I put a lot of hard work in and I take care of my body and I live a disciplined life. So I expect my body to perform accordingly. So to have this body that's been firing on all cylinders for the last 31 years, to look down at my leg and look at it and my brain is telling my foot to go up and it won't, it's a scary thing, but I got some of the brightest minds in medicine in my corner, and we already talked about it. And they said 2 weeks from now, after a little bit of rehab, your leg's going to be 100% ready to go. You can fight in a month.
So what I saw was you're obviously hurt. You're, I mean, unbelievably tough, like unfathomably tough. You continue to go. You drop him. I even asked Brent this question at the press conference. Like, I saw you say to him, hit me, take it off, break it off. And that was just absurd to watch. I have so much more respect for you, and that wasn't even possible. But I mean, it's just your heart was unbelievable. The what you showed, and then I see you go. They call time. You go into the corner. They're talking to you. You get up. You go back to sit down, and someone moves the stool, and then they call it off. And I thought that they thought you couldn't stand.
I hope that's not what it was, because that would be one of the weirdest, most unfortunate things.
Who moved that stool? That was a commission guy, right?
Yeah, I know his name, but I'm not going to say it.
How'd you find out?
He's an awesome guy. I love the guy. Like,
he doesn't work in your corner.
No, absolutely.
He's a New York guy.
Not. Yeah, he was my guy. Like, so
is he a Bellator guy?
No, he was a New York, once again.
Okay.
New York athletic commission. He was the guy. He walks in. Hi, I'm so and so. I will be your commissioner. You have a commissioner with you. The whole way through. You can't take a pee, you can't walk to the bathroom, you can't walk out, you can't eat anything, you can't drink anything, you can't do anything with them watching. They watch you get your hands wrapped, they watch you put on your gloves, they watch you tape up your gloves, they watch you put on your out.
That's common in every state though, right?
Common in every sport.
But that's just
so that's
procedure.
Your guy.
Yeah.
That's your guy. So he walks out with you.
Okay.
He's basically in charge of making sure I don't get myself in trouble. He's in charge of the drug test, he's in charge of all that. He is basically in my pocket the whole way to make sure I don't do anything. So whenever the fight got stopped, timeout, postponed, which I was going to ask you, I don't even know if that's even legal, how that's supposed to happen. But we're sitting there. He had to come into the cage because he's my guy. He's in charge of everything, Michael Chandler, that whole event. So he put this. I guess he brought the stool up because my cornermen aren't allowed to come in.
Yeah.
He put the stool down. I stand up. I guess for some reason he thought we were going to continue. He pulls the stool out, and it's gone viral. It's made the chive. It's made.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got millions and millions and millions of views at my expense.
Yeah.
You know.
Does it drive you nuts?
No, I mean, I was laughing at it, man.
You're laughing.
Like, literally, the night of the fight, I'm sitting there. I mean, people are ruthless. You guys are freaking ruthless.
Yeah.
The human race is ruthless, okay? You just had a man go out there in front of millions and millions of people walking around like a baby deer that just got birthed into a field and walking around on the stanky leg, or whatever you want to call it. And there's people posting these videos of that runway model with her ankles and
Horrible.
like posting the video of me getting, dropped on my butt on the stool. It's just
not funny.
It's not, but what are you going to do? I mean, people love to make fun of people.
I saw some media guys tweet. I'm like, this is not funny.
Yeah,
this is not.
It looks bad on the sport, honestly. I could care less. You could laugh at me all you want.
Yeah.
I love myself, and I have enough, enough self-esteem to say, hey, stuff happens. That's pretty darn funny, actually. But it's bad for the sport. It looks really bad. I mean, it made ESPN or something, I think, on ESPN.com.
But here's the question: did they stop the fight because you fell on your butt? Because that's what I gathered when I saw that.
It happened at the exact same time. So,
when they called it off, right?
Yeah. So I think I fell, looked up, like, hey, dude, what did you just do in front of all these people? Right now.
Did someone help you up?
No, I got right back.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
I did a one-legged squat basically, or pistol squat.
What were they saying to you in the corner? Like, how did they determine that you could not fight anymore?
They were, they're doctors, and there was 2 or 3 of them there, and he was. So I basically have this. I have this thing right here. See this little.
Yeah. Oh.
So there's a hole in my leg right here that I've always had.
Oh, okay.
And it's a hole in my sheath. As you can see, I have like a couple of them. But it's just what happens when you have when people with leaner legs, they pop out. Whatever.
Oh.
Sorry, I don't know if that's
no problem. That was
sanitary,
cool.
But,
yeah, that's fine.
But so I felt him sticking his finger in that hole, and he looks up at the doctor and he's like, I think he has a tibia fracture. And I was like, sir, that's not a tibia fracture. It's fine. My leg is just cramping. It's fine. I made something up, I got kicked in it, or it's just sore, whatever. I was just like, just don't stop the fight. I'm fine. Let's go. Let's do this thing. Hop on out. We'll talk about it later. Let me do my job.
Amazing.
But yeah, I mean, they were doing it, and they were testing it. Obviously I didn't have a ton of strength in it, and here I am, dude. 16, and now I got another loss on my record, and I'm not the champion anymore, allegedly, but I still got the belt at home.
You were jumping up and down.
I was.
That was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You were like, let's go. You wanted to go right then and there.
Yeah, well, and the other thing too is, Brent Primus acting, screaming and acting like he just did something. It's like, hey, buddy, you didn't do anything. One punch got landed in that fight. You had a man.
We're seeing some highlights right here.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You had a man completely debilitated, and all you could do was try to kick the leg.
There
there you go, get sat to your butt.
What is going on when in your mind when you do that? When you drop him on one foot?
Well, unfortunately, I wish I would have just said, okay, just stand here and let him keep coming back to you, because I had the beat on him. Like when I get your range and I get your timing and I get your movement and I see your tendencies and your habits there, and it all unfolds in front of my eyes. I've been in the sport long enough to know right where I'm going to punch and when I'm going to punch, and I had it. It was there, and that's the unfortunate part too. Is I promise you, I was about to have one of the greatest comebacks in MMA history, and I would have knocked Brent Primus out on one leg. I should have went Karate Kid. Yeah. Honestly, because that would have made
you would have gone down in MMA lore. I mean,
I would have retired right there.
No, I don't know about that. We wouldn't have let you retire. But like Isaiah Thomas in the 1988 NBA Finals played the fourth quarter on one leg. Like this was even more impressive what you did. You were landing punches. You were dropping a guy, and it was clear you were a wounded animal.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe it when you dropped him. It was a sight to see, and then I remember, because I was sitting cage side. Usually I'm not sitting cage side, and just seeing the look of disgust and disappointment on your face. You yelled something out. What did he say to you, and what did you say back to him? We just saw a moment where you guys sort of embraced after he got the belt. Do you remember?
I mean, I think he was probably respectful, like, thank you for the opportunity or something like that, which that's fine, And I just, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You can. I have respect for anybody who steps in this cage and does what we do, man. I mean, we're only 0.00001% of the human race does what we do, and it's one of the most gruesome, toughest, emotional roller coaster rides of all time. So I have a ton of respect for every single person that steps in that cage. So no matter what, it wasn't Brent Primus's fault that I rolled my ankle, lost complete function of the lower half of my left leg, and so I said, congratulations, but let's be honest, man, like. Hold on to the belt and enjoy it. Take a ton of pictures. Take as many pictures as you can so you can talk about that 90 days that you were Bellator champion.
Afterwards, he's saying don't talk to me about flukes and things like that. I did this. That's the point of the game. I caused damage. I won as a result of the damage I inflicted. To that, you say hogwash? I mean, you did it to yourself is what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, he basically did no damage.
It wasn't a kick, because he said he practiced that to go attack your leg. This is what they set out to do.
He practiced the leg kicks.
That's what he said.
Congratulations, you're a mixed martial artist. I've had my left leg kicked 78 million times in the last 8 years, and nothing like this has ever happened, So it's crazy, man. It's a crazy sport, and you're tied onto a tornado inside of a cage, and that's really what happened. And let him say what he wants. Let him think what he wants. I mean, this is the fight game. These kinds of things happen, and I don't want sympathy. I don't want I appreciate all the kind words, but I signed up for this. I wake up every single morning excited about the opportunity to be able to brave the unknown and the virtual certainty of being let down at some point, and having things like this happen. Good. Things like this are going to happen, and I'm going to come back, and it's going to be part of the story, and it's going to be part of the journey. It's going to be part of the legacy, and you look at my record and you think about the losses that I have that arguably should have been wins in a lot of people's eyes. And now you look at the injury, and it's just like, it's a crazy, crazy sport. And at the end of the day, you just do what you can with what you've been given, and people can see how I can conduct myself after the fight, and people can see how I can conduct myself. It's another opportunity to conduct myself how I want to conduct myself, and how I believe that I should conduct myself in this situation, and dust myself off. And months from now, I'm going to have the belt wrapped back around my waist, and hopefully this doesn't tarnish my my standing in the world rankings. I don't see how it could. I mean, you were going to drop me out of the top 10 because I rolled my ankle and couldn't fight.
Do you get the sense though that your stock has gone up? Like you have more fans now?
I've gotten some phone calls from some very important people saying. Tell
us any names.
I mean, Spike has reached out, not just
they
Spike,
love you.
The highest of the highs at
really?
Spike have called me and said, I mean, I was in the cage for 2 minutes and 22 seconds at Madison Square Garden. 2 minutes and 10 seconds of that 2 minutes and 22, I was wobbling around on one leg, and I still got the greatest cheers. Vanderlei Silva, Chael Sonnen, Matt Mitrione, Fedor Emelianenko, Michael Chandler stole the show and lost the fight. Showed people what a true fighter is and what determination looks like and what biting down on your mouthpiece and going down on your shield looks like. I stole the show at Madison Square Garden, and that's awesome to hear from people, and that's awesome. It is a stock thing, because at the end of the day, I'm not in this sport for the glitz and the glam and the money and the lights and this. I'm in this sport to be a shining light and to be put on a platform for people to say, man, if Michael Chandler can hobble around for 2 minutes and say, come on, kick it, break it. Maybe they could wake up the next day and say, well, you know what, life, you just dealt me this card. Go ahead, do it. This is fine. I'm going to come back from this. I'm going to overcome this. You know, like, it's a metaphor for life. That fight was a metaphor for life, and I get to live it. And I get the opportunity. I get the opportunity to live it day in and day out. And these things are going to keep happening. That's why I say I don't want the sympathy, and I don't want the, you know, it's awesome to feel the love, and it's awesome to get the phone calls, and it's awesome to see my Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff grow, and all the awesome comments from so many beautiful people. But it's what I signed up for. I am a vessel that was put on this earth to be a shining light for times like this, you know. And it's part of it. And at the end of the day, if they give me the instant rematch, which I hope they do, I'm going to be champion again. If they don't, I'm going to go through the next 5 guys to get back to it, and I'm going to continue knocking them down as they put them in front of me, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm a fighter.
Scott was in studio just an hour ago, and he said the rematch is yours if you want it.
Okay.
So,
well, there we go. Let's do it.
Yeah, that would be crazy not to do the rematch right away.
I mean,
but they haven't said it to you.
No, I actually, because I was hoping Scott was going to be here so I could talk to him in person, you know. But
I would have scheduled you guys closer.
It's all good. But no, I texted him and he said, yeah, I just left. He's going to catch a plane or whatever. And I said, book it. I mean, you know, granted, or barring any kind of weird thing going on, my MRI should be clean. Excuse me, my MRI should be clean. You know, when I see the nerve specialist, that should be clean and good. And then we go from there and we say, let's book this thing a couple months from now.
So what is realistic? Like, as far as getting back to training and fight, like in your mind, I know before you get all those, you know, reports back, what do you think is realistic for a return?
Realistic? I mean, the funny thing is, the crazy thing is I think in 2 weeks, I'm going to be 100% healthy.
Wow.
So I could fight in 3 weeks. But you know, you go back and watch those replays and you look at that, you would not think that man who was just hobbling around on that ankle would be able to fight again in that short a time. But here I am, man. Like I said, I've been extremely blessed with a durable body that I've been through some weird, crazy injuries and all that kind of stuff, and I've fought injured, and I always told myself, and I made a promise to myself, my family, and my fans, that if I can walk to the cage, I'm gonna show up on fight night. And that's what I did. And I've paid the price for it. I've taken losses for it, but I've never pulled out of a fight. I've had 6 opponents drop out in my career, but I have never pulled out of a fight. And I always said, if I can walk to the cage, I'm going to step into that cage. I'm going to fight because I'm a fighter. And they wanted me to get stretchered out of the cage. I said, absolutely not. I walked out. They wanted me to get stretchered to the ambulance. I said, heck no. Those things are bad. Those things are bad. A bad omen. I can walk. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I can walk. I don't hear anything clicking or cracking. So I'm gonna walk. And I walked on in here, and I got the opportunity to roll.
Yes, it was very nice.
Chair, but I walked to the chair.
I wish I can get like one of those director's cuts and hear what you were saying to yourself initially when you get hurt, and then as you're trying to survive. What are you saying to yourself, if anything? Are you saying, I can't believe this is happening? Are you saying, survive, I got him? What kind of dialogue are you having internally?
The crazy thing is, man, and I don't want to discredit Brent Primus, but I didn't feel in danger. I mean, I have fought some dangerous human beings in my career. Patricky Pitbull hits like a brick house. Eddie Alvarez came and tried to kill me in our first fight whenever I hurt my foot, and he chased me around for 2 minutes, beating the tar out of me. I've fought some dangerous human beings in that cage. I didn't feel in danger. I was not performing. Like my body, my left leg would not function. So it was just more of a feeling out process. It was okay, this is something that is impossible to train for.
Yeah.
You can't train. Okay, ready? The next 2 minutes, your left leg doesn't work. Go, spar. But man, it's another kind of feather in my cap. It's another opportunity to see my veteranship be revealed to me right in front of my eyes, that I had that happen, and I still had the calmness of mind to say, it's okay, something's going on. The feeling in your leg is going to come back. And that's what I just kept thinking. Weather the storm, the feeling in your leg is going to come back. I didn't feel in danger. He wasn't throwing punches. He threw a couple kicks, that's fine. I looked him in the eyes and said, throw more, do it. You know, because I knew he was going to keep throwing those kicks, and I was going to get the beat on him, and I was going to get the bullseye and put it right on his chin, and I did, and dropped him right to his butt. And that's when the fear came. And if I hadn't chased him across the cage, rolled my ankle 4 more times, and then fell, maybe the ref doesn't stop the fight right there. You know, so I've replayed it in my head 1,000 times and wish I would have maybe done things different. But when you're in a cage, it's so easy to sit back and say, man, I wish I could have done this, or fans or media could say he should have done that and this, that, and the other thing. But really the only thing in my mind was keep calm, it's fine, you're going to adjust. I have the confidence in myself that anything in life, in a fight, in training, in anything, you can make the proper adjustments to put yourself in the best situation to succeed. And I believe that's what I was doing. And I was kind of just learning how to fight again as a injured opponent. I was learning how to do that in that cage right there. And right about that time, the ref stops a fight, which I get. He stopped the fight, but here's my question is, if the doctors would have looked at it and looked at each other and said, no, it's not broken, he can continue to fight. Can I continue to fight at that point?
Well, they would ask you.
So if I said, but is that how the rules go? Is that even, you know what I'm saying?
Well, they then determined, because did they ever actually ask you, will you continue?
They didn't have to. I would say, get out of my cage. I got a job to do. You know,
and that's the part I don't really understand, because I guess then they determine. I really think it's because you fell. I really think that you fell and they thought that you can't stand, and so they're like, no, go look at their faces. They're like, no, we can't do this.
I hope not, man, because that's the biggest.
Would you appeal this?
I don't know. I mean, here's the question. I think I should call whoever was in charge of call the doctors and say, what was it because of you saw me fall? Because that was because I got 3 stooges, you know, I got Mo Larry Curlied in front of millions of people real quick.
I felt horrible for you.
It's okay. It's just my ego. Don't worry about it. But the whole world laughing at me. But I mean, I sure
Have you
don't
guys talked about that?
Not really. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you're just digesting it, and you really, what are you going to do? You know, who are you? There's so many people to be mad at. You know, I could be mad at myself. There's so many things to nitpick at, but I've just never been able to do. I have done that in the past, and it's really gotten to me, and it eats.
Done what?
Just
nitpick?
like look at situations and say, he shouldn't be doing this, she shouldn't be doing that, blah, 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 blah. I don't like the way that they are doing this. Oh, woe is me. Because we're all victims, and we act like victims sometimes, you know? We're all guilty of that in our lives.
Licking your wounds.
Yeah. And, you know, it's...
Did you do any of that?
No.
Not even Saturday night?
No, what am I going to do, you know? I guess you just... It was such a whirlwind. I mean, I was in the ambulance. We have video of it. Well, we'll release a video, I'm sure. But I'm just sitting there like, this is ridiculous. What is even happening? I'm in an ambulance right now for and I knew my leg wasn't broken basically because I'm walking around on it, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm driving with the sirens on through New York City.
Wow.
You know, and I'm like, this is not happening. Like, what is going on?
Lost your
right
belt.
Now?
The weirdest way possible.
Yeah, you know, it's just. Man, people are going to look back and say, man, Michael Chandler has had some weird things happen in his career. And I'd say, well, I wouldn't have it any other way.
I was told, correct me if I'm wrong, that you were not begging, but asking maybe aggressively to the PR team to like pipe you into the press conference.
Oh, yeah,
via
Danny.
FaceTime.
I was like, Danny, put me on FaceTime so I can tell everybody what's going on and happen. He's like, I'll try. It never happened, but.
You wanted to speak.
I would love to, yeah. I mean, I would love to get the questions and speak, and that's why we had planned this, and we had a lot different agenda than we thought this was going to be. You know, had I won the fight and figure out what's next, but
let me just say to the people, I reached out to you, kind of essentially saying like, I understand if you don't want to come, and Michael wrote back, no ifs, ands, or buts. I will be there, like within a second.
Yeah.
And again, my respect for you has just grown, and I didn't even know it could grow. I mean, I'm really impressed that you would come here and want to talk to people, because I thought that you would be devastated. I mean, that's your belt. That leads to a lot in your life, and that's given you a lot, and there's a lot that comes with that. And you saw another man. I mean, Brent. You know, there's something about the new champion. He came in wearing it. you know, at the presser and everything like that. And I'd imagine that doesn't make you very happy, right?
I guess, but I don't know, man. I mean, I don't want to delegitimize what he has accomplished.
Right.
Good for him, and he, you know, and he won the fight. Did he gain any fans? No, that night. Did he get booed out of the arena? Yes, he did. You know, so it's one of those things where I'd rather be in my position than his position.
Yeah, I felt bad. I have to say that he got booed because it's not like he called the fight off.
No, it's not.
He didn't do anything, but you know, I think the fans were more upset with like the officials involved that they called it off because it was just so riveting to watch.
Yeah.
And they're gonna, you know,
even if it was at my expense, they were like, "Hey, let him keep going. This is actually really cool. We don't know if his leg's gonna fall off, and we're gonna see like a, you know." But
now that you've been in the cage with them, so you've had a little bit of time to assess him, and I know it wasn't under the best circumstances. You're not close to 100%, but do you feel like he's not on your level?
Oh my goodness, I was on the way to winning the easiest fight of my life, in my opinion.
You felt that?
Yeah, I mean, Brent is slow. He is very slow. He's not confident. He backed up the entire fight. He was scared to death of me. Even after I was hurt, he was scared to death of me. That's the funny thing. Because I looked him in the eye and I said, kill me, break it, kick it, let's do this. And then I dropped him. One punch got lit. He had a man completely debilitated inside of a cage, and he couldn't even land a punch. That's a sad moment. That's a scary moment. That's a scary man standing in front of you telling you to kick his leg that could be broken.
And so I'd imagine, I mean, it's one thing to lose it to like Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
You feel that way about your opponent and he has your belt? That can't sit well.
That's my belt, man.
All right.
That's my belt. I mean, I'm gonna get this leg fixed, whatever needs to be fixed. He can enjoy his 30 days of fame, you know, and the seven family members and friends that he has tweeting about the legitimacy of his win.
Okay, are they tweeting you?
I mean, I've seen some stuff.
Oh, you have?
know, and it's just like,
what have we seen?
just I see him talking about it, and similar to what you said. Oh, he won the fight fair and square, and this, that, and the other thing. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not here to. You can't delegitimize the win for him because this is the sport that we chose.
Yeah.
And if I go out there and I'm chasing somebody down and they roll an ankle or break a leg and this, that, and the other thing, like that's the nature of the sport. This is the sport that we signed up for. We signed on the dotted line knowing that we are in a volatile, crazy situation that injuries can happen, you know. So he got the win technically, but not technically like technically, but
you
know,
I understand.
but he got the win with an asterisk.
Right.
You know, his win has an asterisk on it. You got to beat the champion. You can't let the champion just go out with an injury to get the belt.
Any fighters reach out to you? I feel like you were getting a lot of respect on Twitter from fighters and things, but
yeah, I mean, I saw
anything that kind of stood out, a text or something from someone that really touched you?
Yeah, I got one from Chael Sonnen this morning.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
so
Chael trains with Brent.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say?
He just said, thinking of you, man. I hope everything's going well. You know, Chael's the he's the gangster, but he's a nice, he's a nice guy sometimes. But we have a good relationship. But I mean, him and I hung out with Ryan Bader yesterday and we talked a little bit, you know. So I mean, and I saw some stuff on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But it's just after a fight, there's a whirlwind. Everybody's talking about the fight,
right?
and they're tagging you in it, so you can't decipher. I'm not gonna waste my time. I haven't seen my wife in 9 weeks. I'm not gonna sit there glued to my phone.
Yeah.
You know, but so
when I ask you about New York now, of course you will always remember this, and this will be the first thing that comes to mind. But leading up to it, the experience of fighting on this stage, MSG, and being at Viacom for the press conference, all that stuff. Did you enjoy this?
Loved it, man. This is a cornerstone. This is one of the cornerstones of Bellator's existence, man. And
it feels like something's changed now, right? Like people view it. Yeah. We've opened a new chapter now.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of something different after Saturday.
Yeah, and I imagine it's different. Like a guy like Ryan Bader.
Yeah.
He's the newest. One of the newest signings, right? He came over from the UFC. He's a big name in the UFC. Came close to fighting for the title numerous times, or maybe he did fight for the title.
Never fought,
but came very close, right?
Yeah.
So he has seen the UFC side of things, and he comes over to Bellator. So his view of Bellator is over the last couple months, whereas mine started in 2010 or 11, and now we've seen this long progression. So it's hard to see where all the corners and nooks and crannies and different avenues and roads that have led to this one for me, because I've just been in it, and quite frankly, I've been more focused on myself than Bellator and anybody else. But you can definitely tell things are changing, and you can tell because people will say, because back in the day, people were like, oh man, I really think Bellator is growing, and I'm like, I mean, we still don't get the respect we deserve. I mean, I'm the world champion. I'm ranked top 3, top 5 in the world, but nobody really talks about me because I'm the Bellator champion and this, that, and the other thing. But now 5, 6, 7 years later, it's different. It really is. And I'm not going to sit here and say, the organizations are equal, or the level at which people view them is the same. But I mean, the press conference, the big screen, the way the press conference is set up, Kevin Kay coming out and giving an awesome speech, and Scott Coker coming out and doing an awesome speech, the lineup of guys that we had there, the ups and the downs, the upsets, even though I'm part of this horrible upset, but it was a huge historic night. It's Madison Square Garden. It's the world's most famous arena. It was really cool, and we'll see what the future holds. All I know is I'm in a very good position. Even today, with another, a loss and an unfortunate set of circumstances, it's just still the best job I've ever had, and it's the best job I'm ever going to have. Aside from being a husband and a father someday, but it's the highlight of my life, and it's going to be a very cool platform and a very cool journey that I get to go on. So it's cool that I've been on this trajectory with Bellator, and I've helped them grow, and they've helped me grow. Amazing.
I feel like you guys are close to having a kid. You keep mentioning being a father every time I talk to you now. It's like every time. Yeah. Are you trying to put pressure on your wife?
Yeah. No, 2018 is our year. You're
going to be a great dad, man.
Maybe. I don't know. It's scary, man, because getting married is scary because you're in charge of providing for another human being. And that's the other thing too. I mean, if this is me and you talking 6, 7 years ago when it's just me and I'm single.
Completely selfish.
It's just selfish. It's like, this happened to me and this happened to blah, 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 me this, I that. Now it's us, and it's a mouth to feed, and it's a heart to protect, and it's a woman to serve, and then when you think about kids, it's a whole different level, and you're someone to look up to, and you're that thing that they want to be, and that they want to be loved on by. So it's gonna be cool, man. It's exciting, and it's gonna be a cool ride. So we'll see. So maybe a year from now we'll sit here and we'll talk about our kids on the MMA Hour.
That would be cool. Maybe you could bring in your.
I will.
By the way, what do you think of the new place?
This place is amazing.
You were at the old one not that long ago.
I was, and that one was very cool.
Yeah.
This one is definitely awesome, man.
We moved up, right?
Yeah, I need to send you a little bit of.
Can we get some stuff? We got some Bellator gloves there.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, you got Crazy Raging Al.
Yeah. Did you call him?
Did you really did? Man. I absolutely did. I was sitting there. I was in.
You were egging him on.
Yeah, I was. I was like, do it. Because that was been funny. That actually would have been hilarious if he would have actually called him, or if he would have put out Dana White's phone number.
Hilarious for us, maybe not for him.
Yeah, no. And it would have been funny if my name was tied to it, like
the Bellator guy.
At the suggestion of Michael Chandler.
Right. I don't know. The guys in the back, could we get Michael some cans? I want to do something quickly. I forgot to ask for headphones. If we can give him some headphones here for a second, because actually, I don't know if you know about this, but I want to call someone. Did they tell you about this? They didn't tell you?
No.
So I want to call someone on the phone, a guy that you know. His name is Logan Storley.
Okay.
You know about him, right?
Yeah.
You know him quite well.
Yeah, I've lived with him the last 9 weeks.
Yeah. Was he in your corner?
Yeah.
Okay. And so we're going to call him now because he has some news to break for us. For those that don't know, Logan is a 4-time All-American from the University of Minnesota. Miles, you can come in. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Bring it on in, brother.
Yes. Miles is the best, our audio extraordinaire. So 4-time All-American from the University of Minnesota. He is originally from Webster, South Dakota, the hometown, of course, of one Brock Lesnar. Whoa. We good? You can hear me, right?
Yep.
And some people have been pegging him as the next big thing. Of course, he's not a heavyweight. I think he's a welterweight.
He's a welterweight, yeah.
And he's been fighting for LFA. Mm-hmm. And with those accolades from Brock giving him his trophy when he was in college, and being a 4-time All-American, a lot of people think that he's the next big thing. And he has some news to break. So I wanted to just have you on here for a quick second as we call him. We can call Logan. Here we go. We do have him on the phone. Logan, are you there?
Yep.
Logan, it's good to talk to you. It's Ariel Helwani. I'm being joined by a man you know, Michael Chandler, and I do believe that you have some news to break with all of us. So the floor is yours, my friend. Let's hear the news, and then we'll talk about it.
All right. I signed with Bellator this past week, and I'll be fighting July 14th, and I'm excited for the opportunity.
Wow, July 14th already? That's like in 18 days.
Yeah. So I'm excited. We've kind of had a plan, and I knew after the last fight that we were ready to move on and go to the bigger stage, and Bellator is the decision that we made, and so we have the fight scheduled, and now it's time to go out there and perform.
Who are you fighting?
I'm fighting Kamel Haley from Oklahoma.
Okay. Congratulations. Michael is here. Let me ask Michael a quick question. I've been hearing about Logan for quite some time. When he decided to go into MMA, it was a big story because of where he's from. Webster, University of Minnesota, 4-time All-American, very close to being a national champion. How good is this guy?
He's very good. Very, very good. Logan was my main training partner for this last training camp. We trained every single day, drilled a lot, sparred a lot. So it's cool, man. You get to see, honestly, living with and going through a training camp with a young, hungry, successful wrestler. I see a lot of himself, or a lot of myself in him. A younger me when I was 24, and I was excited to sign my first deal and excited to be put on the platform, man. And he's been working extremely hard. He's got a heart of a champion, and he's going to get to prove that. And it's cool that he's signing with Bellator, and he's going to get to do that on the Bellator stage.
Logan, why did you choose Bellator and not the UFC? Because looking at some old articles with you, some interviews, you were talking about wanting to go to the UFC like Barack.
With Bellator's growth has been a big difference, and obviously, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I do for a living, and so you have to look at things financially. You have to look at the roster. You have to look at who's taking care of who, and Bellator's done a great job with their prospects, and they've done a really good job of building guys. Look at Michael. They built him from the ground up. They've done a lot of good things with Ed Ruth and Pico and all these guys that they are pushing out there, and you hear about. And so that was one of the main things that I looked at, and I'm excited for this opportunity.
Is Brock Lesnar as scary as he appears to be, from our perspective?
I mean, he's a great guy. I like him because I've spent a lot of time with him, and we have the same high school wrestling coach. But when you watch him train and you see him face to face, he is a very large human being, and
yes,
he is very intense. He's an intense person, but at the end of the day, he's a very simple and just a Midwest guy who likes hunting and fishing and hanging out, and that's pretty much the Brock that I know. It's just very simple.
Last thing for you, Aaron Pico came in and it did not go as planned, but he was 0-0, and they brought in some other guys like Ed Ruth and Tyrell Fortune who had no MMA experience. You have MMA experience. So how far away do you think you are from being in the discussion of, the top contenders at 170?
There's a big difference. I had questions asked about Pico, and, I feel bad for Pico. It's tough. But there's a difference. I'm 5-0. I've been in this sport for 2 years, and, I train with Chandler, Robbie Lawler, Michael Johnson, the best guys in the world. And if I didn't think I could be a top guy, I wouldn't be doing it. I would go do something else. I have a college degree. I could go into coaching. I could do a lot of other things. And, I truly believe in myself, and I know I'm where I'm at. And so, I'm going to take care of July 14th first, and we'll go from there. But, there's no doubt in my mind that, it's not going to be that long, and I will be right there with, in the talks of the top guys in the weight class. So, everyone will see. They'll see very soon. But, I'm excited, and I'm going to take care of July 14th first, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think what a lot of people don't understand or even know is you actually took amateur fights, when you were 16, 17, 18 years old?
Yeah, I had 3 amateur fights.
He had 3 amateur fights. So, I mean, this is a guy who has now been thinking about fighting for 9 years. Essentially he has almost as much experience as far as some of the mitts and some of the training, and then obviously going through that wrestling background. And me and Logan talk about this all the time. I mean, we're on the same wavelength in that wrestlers getting a high school wrestling career, bringing that into the college Division I wrestling program, wrestling for 5 years at the Division I program, and then coming into mixed martial arts, not taking the damage of the guys who started fighting when they were 18 years old, your career is going to last a lot longer. Because realistically, and I told Logan this, he's not even fully developed yet. Your body really isn't fully developed till you hit that 28, 29, 30 years old. That's when things really start clicking. So he's so young. I was so young back when I burst onto the scene, and I was just gutting it out and winning fights and just on sheer athleticism and toughness, you know. So it's cool to see that progression. And this is a guy who's literally been thinking about this day, being on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, you know, announcing that he was signing with one of the world's biggest promotions for almost a decade now. So it's cool. It's cool to hear that, and it's cool that he's going to get this opportunity. And it's been cool to be his roommate for the last 8 weeks and kind of see his progression and him and I bouncing ideas off of each other. And he's a very smart guy, taking notes, seeing how training camps are ran and how things progress and the ups and the downs, because it ain't always pretty during a training camp, but it's cool. So he's getting a lot of great experience down there in Florida, and I'm excited for July 14th.
Logan, congratulations. Thanks for coming on the show and announcing the big news. We've been watching you from afar. Another great signing for Bellator. They've done a great job of kind of zeroing in on these blue chip prospects, none greater than you. People have been talking and very excited about your MMA debut after college for quite some time. So again, congrats and good luck on July 14th. I had no idea that it was coming so soon. So I'm looking forward to that very much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Oh.
All right, there he is, Logan Storley stopping by. How about that? You knew he signed with Bellator, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Did you do a little recruiting there?
I mean, we had a ton of talks. I mean, it's not really recruiting. I mean, realistically, no offense to Bellator, no offense to the UFC, I could care less about the promotions. It's about the individual fighter. What's the best situation for each individual fighter? Signing with Bellator might be good for him, but signing with the UFC might be good for the next guy. You know, it just depends on the trajectory of the careers of the paths that the guys want to go. You know, so it's I mean, we had some talks, because there was a UFC contract on the table, there was a Bellator contract on the table, there was, you know, contracts on the table. So you gotta, you know, I was there for a mentor type of role, and answer questions, and he's got a lot of questions because he cares. He wants to live that champion lifestyle. He wants to be a champion, and I think he's going to be one.
This is a big signing for Bellator.
It is.
I remember when he was in college. I'm not a big wrestling guy, like amateur wrestling, but I know who he is because I know what he's done. I know the connection to Brock. You know, it's a big deal here. You look at his interviews when he started out, he was all about the UFC. Yeah, everything's UFC.
I think everybody was.
Yeah, I guess.
Pico was too. You know, I mean, that was just kind of, that was the cool thing to do.
What would be your advice to Pico after what he suffered?
Shoot, man, just dust yourself off and keep going, man.
Did they make a mistake by putting him in there against an 82 guy at MSG? Was it too soon?
Yeah, it's a management error.
Yeah.
It's a promotional error. It's a Pico error. And it was also a great night for Freeman. I mean, it was a great night for a tough opponent. I mean, he's no pushover. You know, I get it too. You can't necessarily put Pico out there against a guy with a losing record. You know, it kind of looks bad to have a guy with a losing record on a pay-per-view.
0-0 is not bad. They're both 0-0. Yeah. Why not just do that?
I guess that's true too. You know,
1-0. This guy's 8-2, just fought for the RFA title.
And he's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's a big boy. I mean, he was 4.5 inches taller than Pico. And Pico's not a big. First of all, Pico should be at 145.
Yeah.
You know, I think Pico, like I was just talking about the growth of a man's body. I think Pico still could end up being a decent sized lightweight, but he's a 145er right now.
Is he overhyped? Did we do a little too much there?
First of all, it's hard to say anything negative about a man who just got
sure.
You know,
I understand.
You hate to, but what I would say is, it's no offense to Pico. I would speak in general. The college wrestling environment breaks people. And
what do you mean?
I think the path that he chose, although he's had extreme success, everything has been based around him. You know, he doesn't know what it's like to walk into a college wrestling room, get thumped on and beat within an inch of your life.
Because he bypassed that.
He bypassed everything.
Interesting.
He's had everything.
It's always been about him.
He's had everything.
Interesting.
Not that he hasn't earned it. He has earned every single thing that he's created. The guy's beat Zane Rutherford, a couple-time national champion. He's beaten all these guys on the international circuit. He's a phenomenal wrestler.
Does the wrestling community kind of look down on him because he did that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I would say no. I would say no. But I just think, like I said, I think Aaron Pico would have been better to have gone throughout high school, won his high school titles, gone to a Division I wrestling program, wrestled 5 years, become a different type of competitor, a more bulletproof competitor, and then step into MMA at 22 years old. That's what I think.
Okay.
Instead of bypassing everything, go to the freestyle tournaments, but that's what he did. I mean, if I had the opportunity to do that and I could get sponsored and a lot of stuff paid for and just wrestle for a living and not go to college and do that, who's to say I wouldn't take that opportunity?
Right.
But I just think the college wrestling environment will turn you into a different type of animal than the route that he chose.
Fascinating.
And Bellator did a very good job of putting a bunch of chips in his corner and making sure that people knew who he was, and now they know who he is. But that doesn't mean he's not a bad fighter.
Sure,
he's 0-1, but he's
a lot of fighters start out 0-1, like some of the greats.
Luke Rockhold lost his first or second fight, which is
I think Henna
crazy.
Barrow, too,
I probably would have retired. If I would have lost a fight, I'd probably be like, go ahead.
Well, you're handling this one very well, remarkably well. It's unbelievable. What a lesson that we can learn from this. I mean, the fact I talk about it all the time. You really get inspired by fighters. At least I do. In the way they handle defeat. It's great to show up there when you're the champion and everyone's loving you and you're basking in the glory of it all. But, you know, I actually have a picture right on my desk, right over here. Let me show it to you.
Oh.
This is a photo taken by the great Esther Lynn of, look at this. This is not an interesting photo by any stretch, right?
No.
This is not, but you know what it represents.
That's the great, that right there was the greatest.
Never sat down. Dominic Cruz standing up, UFC 207, loses to Cody Garbrandt. Some might say he was outclassed. Stood up there and took that. I mean, I hate to say took that like a man because women take it damn well too.
Yeah.
Took it like a champion. Took it like a professional. And so I have so much respect for him. I have so much respect for you, how you handled it. That's when I sit there in the press room and say, I'm so lucky to be doing this and being around these people because it's incredibly inspiring to be next to you because I can't do that.
No.
I would go cry.
But
you know?
And it's tough, but I think, I mean, in Dominic's case, I mean, first of all, let me tell you where some of my inspiration too. I don't know how much time we have, but I'm rambling on, but I went through those 4 ACL surgeries with Dominic.
Yeah, I know you know.
Him and I were together training in San Diego. Well, I was training and, you know, he was watching me train. I saw everything taken from this man. There's not a man on this earth that loves fighting more than this guy right here. He loves it 5 times more than I do. And it was taken away from him for 3 years or however long it was.
Yeah, 3.5.
His legs would not work. They kept failing him. So to see a man like that go through that and see everything taken away from him, how am I going to sit here and say, oh, woe is me, my little sprained ankle or whatever you want to call it, and a loss, and oh, woe is me. Man, get over yourself, man. I'm so extremely blessed, all things considered. I mean, I could have been laid up with 3 ACL surgeries like this guy, and I probably would have just retired and just quit. But he stuck through it, and that night when he gave that speech and he stood up there and he took it, like you said, like a man, like a champion, his stock grew by 1,000,000%. And that's a great human being right there. So it's what we're called to do, man. We get this platform, we get opportunities like this to use our voice and use our actions to inspire and lift people up in life. And I will never, ever, ever take that for granted. So what happened on Saturday night was unfortunate for myself, but you're not going to see me cry about it. You know, you're not going to see me worry about it. It did end on Saturday night, and the sun came up this morning, and it's a new day to get better.
Well done, Mike. Really
Yes, sir.
appreciate it. Thank you
for
so much
having
for coming in. I can't thank you enough. When do you go home?
We leave Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning. All right, so you got some time left here in New York.
Yeah, so we got to
See the sights, walk a lot.
walk it off. Just walk it off.
I really appreciate it. Keep us posted on the doctor appointments, and looking forward to the return.
Absolutely.
I hope you get that immediate rematch.
That's what I'm hoping for.
We're doing this on the fly once again. You can roll right out of here.
We're doing
That's it.
We're
That's
out
how
of
we
here.
do it. Yeah. There he goes. Michael Chandler. He will fight for the belt in the not so distant future. We appreciate him coming in. Appreciate his team for stopping by as well. Yeah, you can keep that there. No problem. I like to look at Dominic all show long. He gives me inspiration. Thank you so much, Mike. We'll see you soon. There he is, the one and only Michael Chandler, the now former Bellator lightweight champion. I don't say that so that he punches me in the face. I have no doubt that he will be back sooner rather than later. Oh, you missed the moment with your picture there, Esther. We're having people take photos in the middle of our show. That's how long. There he goes. Michael Chandler, great performance from him in very trying circumstances. Brent Primus is now the Bellator lightweight champion, but you heard Scott Coker earlier say that they want to do the rematch. You heard from him. He is doing okay. He is, quite frankly, sounds like he dodged a bullet.